Hi, Simon Warner here, and today I'm joined by a great friend of mine, the lovely Steve Benn. And Steve is actually off on his travels today, aren't you, Steve?
Yeah, I am. I'm about to head off for Traffic and Conversions, which is in San Diego this year, and it's the first time I've ever been. So I'm really excited to go. I've got a lot of meetings booked with people already, so there's going to be a lot of exciting stuff, both socially and business-wise, I think, coming from this.
And then you're over in the States for a while, and you're going to JV Zoo, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll be at the JV Zoo. I'm also going to a number of startup events in San Francisco. And yeah, just packing it in, making the most of meeting, connecting with people. Because networking is really, really important in this industry. It is in any business, to be honest, isn't it, Simon?
Absolutely. I mean, the thing that was a breakthrough for me in this business was Paul Clifford's UK event, which was, what? Now, it's where I first met you. And how long ago was that now? Is it 2 years?
Is it 3 or 4 years? I lose track.
I don't think it's 3. May 2012, I think, actually.
That sounds about right, yeah.
Because I did 2, 3. Yeah, May 2012. Yeah, so 3 years ago this May, and that's really what skyrocketed my business from just doing a few PLR WSOs to hearing Paul and Oz and people like that talking about software, and making the connections there at the bar. Because if you've not been to an event, that is really where the action is. And the speakers, you get some real great content that you wouldn't get in a normal information product, but the real content's at the bar.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was actually where I first met you, wasn't it? It was I'm trying to remember the name of the pub just down the road from the Commonwealth Club.
Yeah, absolutely.
Made a lot of good connections there. I mean, whatever level you're at, I think events are really useful. Even if you're just starting out or you've been around for a while, very, very useful, because you always connect with people who have great things to share. And sometimes, like us, you become friends and you stay in touch.
Yeah, absolutely. And you sort of get your little band of people who you meet up with, and then they introduce you to their friends. And I've always said to people, rather than sending Facebook messages to people, you can spend, if you spent a month sending Facebook messages to people you didn't know, you'd do a lot better at recruiting affiliates for your product launch and finding out stuff by just being at the bar in an event, because then people can put a name to a face, and if you shared a pint with someone, you're more likely to be open to what they've got to say to you.
Well, who are you going to trust more? The guy who said, "Hi there, promote my product" on Facebook, or the guy who's come up, talked to you at an event, seen what you're doing, talked about what they're doing, and said, "Hey, would you be interested?" I know what I prefer.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing to be aware of if you are going to an event is book your travel plans properly, isn't it, Steve?
Yeah, I did book my travel plans properly, Simon. It was Delta who let me down when they had to move the darn engine off the jet. You don't want to be there for 6 hours seeing the actual engine on the floor with a load of engineers around it. That's scary.
Well, yeah, I went on one, and for those of you who've probably heard of me talk about Michelle in videos, Michelle's my wife, and Michelle's terrified of flying. And we were waiting to go on one of ours, I think it was to the JV Zoo event, and they had to get cutting equipment out because they've got the big metal things that they put the food onto.
Yeah.
Then it got stuck in the door on the Boeing 767, which was a replacement plane for the broken Dreamliner.
Oh, that's terrible. That is absolutely terrible. But yeah, as you know, I've got some pretty bad sort of flight horror stories where my plane's gone off, or they've told me that my seat's been cancelled as I'm about to board. I've had that whole plane replacement thing as well, which is just horrible when that happens, and going from a big one to like a really little thing where you're packed in. That's not good.
No. The moral to that story is probably don't get on the same plane as Steve if you're going to an event.
Yeah, definitely. But despite all those horror stories, it really is worth going to events. Whatever business you're in, who wants to be isolated, doing it all on their own, not got a clue of what works and what doesn't? When you go to an event, you say, "Hey, I've got this idea." And somebody might say, "Do you know what? We tried that before, and it does work, but you've got to do it just a little bit like this," or "Have you tried this?" You're going to get people of all experience levels.
It's those little gold nuggets, and also be able to put names to faces, and to people who you might not normally know, and circles that you might not normally move in. And you've been to my last 2 events, haven't you? You've spoken at my last two of my last events.
I think I've been to all of your events apart from Summit in the Sun.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Which unfortunately I missed, which probably would have been the coolest of all.
I think the great thing is as well, for from someone who's spoken and mentored at the events, is to see people actually making progress as well. People
oh yeah,
who
you
come
do.
up there.
You do a couple of events a year, and you do see people go from just starting out to working in a particular area, and sometimes it's really obvious stuff. Sometimes they're doing stuff like one guy went from setting up servers for people for doing email to come up with these amazing software products, and he literally came up with an idea at the London event, if you remember. I'm talking about Marius here. And he came up with this absolutely brilliant idea, and within a few weeks it was launched.
Yeah, and that's the thing, people get there, and I think, when you're surrounded by your own peers and people doing that, and you see, those claims of people making tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands in a week or in a day, when you actually meet those people in person and just figure out they're just a guy or a girl just like you, I think it all becomes a lot more easier to attain, from going to $1 to $100 to $1,000 to $10,000 to $100,000 days. It's just a case of steps, really, and just, realising that most of these people have no more skills than you have. It's just that, they've got the formula right.
Sometimes it's just a case of experience, and they've actually networked with the right people. Even if that didn't mean JV deals, it could be just somebody gives me a tip. You know what, Steve, you need to try that. Okay, position it this way. This would really help. All that kind of stuff.
And the more you mention, the things I've heard is, like Kevin, the Kindle guy, who he got to an event and gave him the direction to go in, and he was working with Alex Jeffries getting his book to #1.
Yes.
Because no one can really operate in this circle alone at all. No. And in fact, if I hadn't have gone to an event, we wouldn't have just had a $300,000 launch, would we?
No, that would literally never happen. Sorry, I'm just going to have to stop that. But yeah, we certainly wouldn't, would we? So I mean, that basically, yeah,
it's down to an event.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely down to meeting somebody at an event, and if you don't go to an event, you could miss out maybe on one thing which could change your life,
exactly.
Or it could be 100 things which all make a little difference, and that's what makes the big difference to you. All those little strategies somebody gave you. Well, try pricing like this. Have you tried this to get people to put their email address in? All those little things can add up.
Exactly. I think the more events you go to, the more your circle expands, and the more you might have been flogging away in SEO for years and find out that you've got some skills as a product creator because you're talking to people at the bar and they go, "Wow, that's an amazing idea. Why don't you make a product on that?"
Yeah. Well, to be fair, if it hadn't been for you and a few other people prodding me on Member Deliver, which I've had as my own system for years, I've just never released it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. You go to there. You get invited out with a guy, to a beer or to a dinner, and then you find out they're involved in that. And then you get a deal for a webinar or something like that, or you find out a product that you really needed, you couldn't get X to connect to Y. And they're fun as well, though. The amount of laughs and giggles we've had.
Yeah, definitely.
And if there's an Andy Blackson event, it's always fun to stitch him up.
Plus, occasionally there are free bars at these events.
Free bars, free food. We've had Vanilla Ice at the JV Zoo event.
I've got my photo with him.
Hypnosis shows with myself and Rob. Lovely Michelle singing as well. We had a casino party, and in June we're doing a Beatles theme party at the Hard Day's Night Hotel.
Yeah, looking forward to that one.
That's going to be a good one, and this time I've made it a little bit different. I've pulled in all the guys from around the world to come and speak. So we've got Walt speaking. We've got Sam Backett because he's doing some amazing things in email.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Davin Zander, that guy can do a product launch and a half. We've got Cindy coming over from New Zealand. Cindy's awesome in our space. We've got little old me there. We've got some amazing speakers lined up. And if you can't get over to Liverpool, then the other side of the world is San Diego. Yeah, and I'm going to be there. You're going to be there.
Yeah.
And I'm really, really looking forward to that because it's going to, it's going to be a change of scenery as well.
Yeah, I think that's something you always benefit from as well, getting out of your environment. If somebody's starting out, I've noticed this with almost anybody who starts a business. You get a lot of well-meaning friends and family say, "Oh, it's probably not going to work.
Yeah,
Don't do it." And you suddenly get into a really positive environment where people are supporting you, who you barely even know, and they're saying, "Yeah, I think you could do that. Can I help in some way?" And then suddenly things become possible that didn't seem possible the week before when you were in that normal environment.
well, that's the thing, because as soon as you tell any family and friends you're getting into this, they'll go, "Oh, it's all a scam. It's like a pyramid scheme," And then those people aren't really, because there was all that thing years ago, where people are hiring out mansions and Ferraris and things to make sales videos. But there really are people who live in mansions and drive Ferraris in our industry, who
Yeah.
2-3 years ago were struggling to pay the rent. It really, business does work like this. This is that kind of business.
Yeah, it very, very much is, isn't it?
And no one can do it. No one can do it without some kind of connections.
Absolutely not. And I think, if somebody's looking to maybe launch information products or software products, or they want to provide SEO services, then these events are great for them. But let's just say you've got a regular business or something and you want to get more traffic, or you want to learn how to increase your emails or how to charge a bit more. You'd still get a load of benefit from virtually every event I've been to.
Absolutely. I mean, if you've got a product and or an idea for a product, you might go to the event and meet somebody who's a great at actually launching the products.
Yeah, exactly.
When I first started out JV managing, I literally just looked for people who had great products but no idea on how to market them.
Yeah.
So whichever side, you might be a great marketer without a product or a great product without a marketer. It's just no one can do the whole thing on their own.
Yeah. There are so many things that you could provide to people as a service or as a product or as an idea. There are so many different ways that you can be involved, or you can help somebody improve their business, or you could be that person who's looking for that improvement. You've got all of those opportunities at an event because there's so many different people there offering things.
Absolutely. I mean, there's those people at the events. If you might be a great social marketer, but I'm no good at social marketing. I'm crap at writing. I need those kind of services.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess if people have got an idea but they're missing some things, that's exactly where they could connect with people that will help them out.
Yep, absolutely. And they get to join us at the bar as well, which is probably the most exciting part of the whole event.
Most definitely. Oh, most definitely.
Anyway, you're jetting off now, so I'm going to see you in, what is it, 4 weeks now? Well, it's not long now,
Something
is it?
like that, yeah. March 19th, or maybe a few days before that, I think.
Yeah, so they can't miss us. We'll be the ones propping up the bar.
Pretty much.
Have a great flight.
Thanks.
Let us know all the gossip from traffic and conversions. I unfortunately can't make that one. But I'll see you at JV Zoo, and obviously I'll see you in Liverpool.
Yeah, we'll hopefully see some of the guys watching this call at Liverpool as well. Everybody should sign up for it.
Thanks a lot, mate. Catch you later.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.